For me, the engraving on my product was precise and exactly what I wanted.
So don't wait any longer to add a personal touch to your products. Call Romika Laser Engraving and Custom Designs today at 817-400-4040 or visit our website at romikadesigns.com. We look forward to helping you make your mark.
You haven't even met Mark.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
I'm taking it off in about 2 seconds. Okay, guys, you all ready? Yep. I'm not sure what Mike. Hello, let's do this again. So we're here, a common thread. I'm Iguaran.
I'm Sonia V. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
We're sitting here talking and you're not hearing us. So sorry about that. We are going to try to have less technical issues in the future. So
yeah, so please, thank you for your grace and your mercy towards us. We really appreciate it.
Let's see.
We're good at this part, like the talking part, but when it comes to the technology part, we're like not good, but
we're going to have notes on all these buttons in the future because there's quite a few buttons over here. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a story of my life. So
yeah.
Anyway, today I'm just excited because we have Mark Hill and
hello.
he's from Burleson, I guess, or where are you from actually?
Actually, yes, I'm from Burleson.
Okay. So I live here in Burleson. Sonia, she's in Keene, a little further away.
I'm in Keene, but originally from New York. So I'm a big transplant, like halfway across the country. You're like from where?
Alabama. Transplant from Alabama.
Yeah.
But I claim Burleson as my home.
Okay, we're getting another call. Yes, ma'am.
Mark needs to lift the microphone up higher to him from the actual bar, and I don't believe mic 5 is unmuted. Tell her to look at the white tabs to know which mic is number 5.
I'm gonna pass the phone to you. Hold
on. He has mic number 5.
Yes, on the white tab. Look at the white tabs on the bottom.
Okay, I unmuted 5. Okay, pull the mic. Pull the mic. Okay. 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 Okay, say hi again, Mark.
Hey, hello, this is Mark.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, that was fun.
Okay,
So
well, we're ready.
We are started. We are officially started. Thank you for
Okay.
listening. Every Wednesday you can find us at 6:00. So I want you to just come and listen to us jab and chit chat. But today I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself because the last show we did, Sonia got to talk about her story. And if you want to pull that up and listen to it, I think it was a couple of shows back. And we picked this because basically we loved the title Common Thread because all of us are connected in some kind of way. And Sonia and I were connected through kids and play dates, and I'm connected with Mark through exercise, and a lot of the different goals that we have been very similar. And so we just love that we can find something in common with anybody you meet. So we don't have to have tension. We don't have to talk religion. We don't have to talk politics.
Nope.
There's so many things for us to find in common that we can be friends with people from all over. And so today I just kind of wanted to share a little bit of my story, but mostly about how I got into sports. And basically from high school, I've loved to run. I did track and cross country. Uh, Also cross country, basketball, but I've always been like into sports. But I didn't realize probably until later in life that the long distance running and some of the things that people think are quite traumatic are actually because there was a lot of trauma in our family. I didn't really like connect to it as much. Like I think I was like just pushing it out. I never really thought about that trauma is the reason why I liked doing long distance run, but everybody used to think I was crazy even high school because I would do the 3,200 meter. And I think I could be wrong. I want to say it's like 16 times around. I don't know. It could be less. Anyway, 3,200 meter was many times around the track. And that was my distance in high school. And I just ran and ran. And people just thought I was crazy because most people would choose to do the 800 or they would choose to do the 1 mile, but like 2 miles, who wants to do that? So whatever the 3,200 meter was, that's what I would do. And people just thought, what's wrong with her? But today I'm like, that's not really a big distance. But I enjoyed running 6 miles a day. I enjoyed really pushing myself. In high school, I got to state competition. And at that level, I choked. I didn't really bad. But anyway. It was a good time. I loved our coach. Our basketball coach was real. We got to stay in basketball because he was hardcore. But just learning that some of the reasons why I love the discipline in these sports is because there's a lot of pain that I got to deal with on those runs, just like the quiet time, the alone time. I come from a family who my brother suffered from physical abuse, but mostly he was molested as a young boy, and so all of that trauma kind of just carried off into our family life, and then it went into drug abuse, and so like my whole childhood, it was coping. Like I guess from outside eyes looking in, like we were always trying to help him. My parents were always trying to help him. And all of those problems that he had that just kept multiplying kind of went into our lives too. And so, yeah, now I understand it from that point that probably my reasoning for that is like they call it controlled discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
So I choose this kind of pain. I don't choose the other kind of pain. I choose the long distance running and these different sports because it helps me cope with the struggles that our like personal life and family have had. But anyway, so yeah, in high school I did the 3,200 meter, and then let's fast forward to when I was pregnant with my youngest child. That was probably 10 plus years ago. I was like, you know what? I think I want to do a triathlon. So I think I was
You were pregnant with
I
her?
was, yes. So I did my first triathlon.
I don't I don't remember you being pregnant and doing a triathlon.
Yeah,
oh my
no,
gosh, Eva.
but it wasn't. It was only an Olympic size, right? So it was. I don't remember what the Olympic size is, but it's just a few miles of swimming. Or no, it's not even a
No, it's a
mile.
1 mile. It's a 1 mile swim, 26-mile bike ride, and a 6.2 run.
Okay. Okay. So no,
Yeah.
I didn't do the Olympic. I was pregnant and I did the sprint. Sorry.
Okay.
So it was a little shorter.
Mhm.
But anyway, nevertheless, that's how I got into it. And then slowly but surely, I always wanted to do like a full, but I was always like, I'm a mom. I've got all these things, right? So it took me, I would say, a good 10 years to finally accomplish my goal of getting there. It took me a long time, but I was always looking. I found here in Burleson, you may know William Iron Knox. That's what he goes by. What is his last name? Pruitt. Sorry, William. William Pruitt. You may know him. I know him by Iron Knox. And he was at the Hughley Fitness Center. And I was like, hey, do y'all know who I could, meet to get together with to kind of like, this is what I want to do. I want to do an Ironman. And they were like, oh, William. So that's how it began with that. So I started going to the pool. He said, yeah, I think you can do this. Started hanging out with him. We did some Sufferfest things with his little group that was here in Burleson also. And from that training, it led to me signing up for first Ironman. And I met Mark and so many people, Albert, DeMarco. I did it with DeMarco and Tito.
I was going to mention Tito.
Yeah. Just doing.
Tito, we dropped your name. If you're watching, because Tito has Facebook and I'm his friend on Facebook.
I think he's in Yellowstone right now, cycling.
Yeah.
Oh,
I doubt he's watching.
Oh, you doubt he's watching? Well, you made a comment on my post, one of my posts today. So I think.
Yeah, I saw him cycling. I'm like, are you kidding? No fair. but yeah, Cozumel was great. It was such a great thing. My whole family was there. Everyone was there to support me. I was a little embarrassed because I got off the bike to do the run. First you swim, it's 2 miles.
What year was that?
I think it was 2 years ago. So
yeah, I remember you going there.
It might have been already 3. I don't know. 3 years ago. Yeah. You're right. You're right. It's been 3 years.
Eva, you're a beast.
Well, I didn't really feel like it. So it's 2 mile swim. And it was Mark's done this race. He did it after I did that race. But like when I finally got off the bike, because a swim, bike, run, when I finally got off the bike, I was feeling great. But then my stomach started cramping. So the whole time I was holding my stomach and I was like, I cannot go to the emergency room now. My family will never forgive me. And they're going to make fun of me forever. But I got it done. And I got to.
With all that cramping in your stomach?
Yeah, I just held my stomach. 26 miles. I held my stomach.
26 miles and you ran that way. Wow.
Yeah. And Mark was watching me. He was like, what is wrong with her run pace? So I think everybody was like, what's wrong with you? Because running is like, I guess, my strength. But in that occasion, it was not. It just completely fell apart. But with all that said, here I am, an Ironman, only one timer. So I guess I got to do another one to prove something else to, you're always in these kind of sports. You're always, I think, maybe your own worst enemy. Just constantly
hard on yourself.
And just like, I can do more. I can do more. And then I have people calling me crazy all the time and you're crazy. And I'm like, no, you haven't met crazy. Like there's people who will do an Ironman and then go do another Ironman, right? Like back to back.
Yeah.
And you've met some of those people.
Yeah.
Now they're crazy. I don't think Mark and I are crazy yet.
I don't know.
Did you sign up for a double?
Yes.
No, you didn't.
Oh, not yet.
You did sign up for one?
Yes.
Mark signed up for a double.
Well, not a double, one right after another.
Oh, okay. But still.
Yeah.
So did you just do? There's my question. So how many have you done so far?
I've done 4.
You've done 4. When was your first
I've
one?
done Florida. I love Florida. Florida was great. Florida, Arizona, Cozumel, and Texas.
Is that where that shirt's
That's
from?
Texas from this year. Then this year we're going to do, we're going to Maryland, and then we're going back to Florida.
Nice.
So see, I have thought that it would be nice to sign up for Florida, but I've heard horror stories too. So like the pros were complaining about the water in Cozumel, and I was like, oh, these guys do not know troubled water, because when we would swim in Benbrook or Cleburne State Park, sometimes the waves would just beat you up. Now, what's interesting, just a little side note about swimming in open water, and I can't wait for y'all to hear Mark's story and some of his story just about swimming in general, but like people think that just the ocean or the beach is rough water, but that's not the case. Like rivers, well, now we know, but definitely rivers, lakes can be definitely come in with waves and currents. Like as a kid, I used to swim across Lake Whitney, and there could be undertows there. I didn't know that. As a kid, I didn't know that.
Sure.
And I would go out without the little buoy because we were just like, everybody's out partying, and I'm trying to show off how I can swim across, from this point to that point, and not knowing that a boat can hit you, or not knowing that there could be a current.
So let me ask a question for someone who's out of this circle, because I don't like swimming. I don't even know how to swim. I'm going to be vulnerable.
What?
I don't.
Okay.
No, that's
Well,
okay.
We're going to take care of that, Sonia.
Yeah, you're going to throw me in?
No.
By immersion? You're going to throw me in the water?
No, I'm just going to say, come to my house every day.
Yeah, you got to teach me. I almost drowned twice as a kid, once in a lake and once in a pool. The lake one was really scary.
Mhm.
And so since then, I just terrified. Now my kids, of course, I never showed that fear with them, because I was like, I want them to swim. And both of them learned. And then my youngest is a great swimmer, so not afraid of the water, which sometimes I wish he would be. But anyway, so
yeah, no, I've had lots of swimming episodes too that went really bad really quick. But this is a great time for Mark to just share his story.
mhm.
I would love for you to just share your story. Start wherever you want, from the beginning, because we're talking about some traumatic experiences. So Mark is a
that would fit right
triathlete.
in. This is great for you.
Yeah, Mark's a triathlete now, but please tell us
What
just
I
from the
was before.
swim. Yeah.
I wasn't bad, by the way. When I look over there, my wife is sitting over there. So this is 18 years ago. I was 44, 45 years old. This is how it started, because this is more of a spiritual revelation, because I was sitting in church. I weighed 260 pounds. Hey, if you weigh 260, that's great. I'm just telling you, I weighed 260 pounds, and I smoked 2 or 3 packs of cigarettes a day. And I was just waiting. I was just waiting for the pastor time to get through so I could sneak out and get a cigarette. That's what smokers do. We get out as quick as we can. So I'm sitting there, and we're having worship was going on, and just as sure as I'm sitting here with you, Jesus spoke to me and said, "You know what?" Said, "You're out of shape. You're no good for yourself, for your family, or for me." And I'm like, well, what does that mean? What did it really mean? So I'm like, okay, I just took it in, and it was a awakening for me. I went home and I thought about it. I prayed about it, meditated about it. I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? I don't like what I see. I didn't like what I was looking in the mirror. I wasn't a bad person. I just wasn't a healthy person. And so Anytime Fitness opened up on Renfro in Burleson, and it just opened. Me and my wife, Kim, we said, you know what, we're going to go join. So this was all coming together about the same time. And so we're lifting weights and running, what would you call running on a treadmill. And I stepped out. I said, I got to have a cigarette. So I walked outside and I lit me a cigarette, and I was smoking. And there was a guy in there on the treadmill. He was just running. I'm like, God, I want to run like that. I want to run like that guy. And he said, okay, but you got to quit smoking. I'm like, I don't want to quit smoking. I just want to run like that guy. Anyway, turns out, you know what? I never could have quit before. So I did quit with the help of the Lord. I quit. I quit smoking. Let me tell you something. It was not easy. It was not something that God just took from me. It was very difficult. Hardest thing I ever did in my life was to quit smoking. But so thankful that I did. Excuse me. So thankful for the deal. So I started running, and I really enjoyed running. That was all I did. I ran, and we start running and we meditate. One thing about running is you can never think about your past. All you can think about is your future and your future plans. And so if you want to get away from your past, if you want to get away from your hurt, if you want to get away from your pain, run, because that's how you get away from it. And so I would run. I would listen to podcasts. I would listen to music. I would listen to Christian music. I would
He
listen
would
to
listen
rock
to
and roll. I
me.
would listen to her. Yeah, I would listen to her because she can talk and run a lot. So anyway, I would run. And so I started running, ran a 5K. I'm like, okay, let's go. That's 3.1 miles. I said, let's go do it. I still remember my first 5K. I ran that. And, you know, then you want to do something better because running, athletics, I've never been very athletic. I wasn't in school. I didn't like running in school, by the way. But you always want to compete against yourself. You always want to be a little bit better. So I stepped it up to a half marathon and then a marathon. And so I ran probably 40 marathons, and I kind of got a little bit like I want to do something different. Well, let me back up to my story. When I was a kid, I was like 10 years old, and I jumped in a swimming pool. We were swimming, and I couldn't swim, but I would jump in kind of close where I could grab that ladder and get back out. Well, I'm standing on the diving board, and the lifeguard said, "Hey, you kids, jump in the middle of the pool." I jumped in and I started swimming, but I was swimming the wrong way. I was swimming down instead of swimming up. And probably like your experience, I panicked. I just started splashing around, and lifeguard had to save me. And as a child, it was pretty traumatic because it was pretty embarrassing to have to be pulled out of a swimming pool and all your friends are around, you know. So anyway, I never even tried to swim after that. Never even thought about it. I'd go on the lake. I'd have my life vest on. You know, I didn't know anything about it. When I was 57 years old, I said, you know what? I would like to learn how to swim. If nothing else, just to save myself if I fell in.
57.
Yeah. So I walked into Hughley and I said, hey, is there anybody here who can teach me how to swim? And then that's what they mentioned William and said, there's a guy in the back named William. He can teach you how to swim. I'm like, okay. So I walked back there, and William was back there, and he was teaching a guy named Shane, you know, Shane, how to swim. And I just asked him, I said, hey, can you teach me how to swim? And he did. And you know, I've been swimming for 7 years now. And guess what? I'm still learning how to swim. It's a very, very difficult part of doing it. So
yeah, we swim, but if professionals looked at us, they would probably be like, what is wrong with their stroke? What is wrong? But we just swim. We just put our head down and we just swim.
We just go. The first experience in open water, though, when I got in, you know, the fear of the deep is what got me, the fear of the deep after swimming down. So, you know, one thing he told me, Helmut said, it's only as deep as you can reach. And I thought, well, that was good. But swimming out for the first time, it was one of the hardest things I ever did. I wanted to cry. I mean, it was that bad. But you either got to face your fears or you got to run from them. You got a choice. So if you face them and you just go, and you'll find out that you really can overcome an accomplishment. So after that, running was fun. I ran New York a couple of times, and I ran Chicago. And New York was great the first time, not so great the second time, but Chicago was fun, and Dallas and Fort Worth several times. And so I'm like, same way. I want to do something different. So I went and did a sprint triathlon, and I completed it. The swim was very slow, even in the water. And after that, COVID came along and kind of messed everything up, as we know. Well, I had signed up for Galveston 70.3, and I was the only one doing it. And we were just coming out of COVID, and, you know, still doing the whole mask thing, and everything's going on. And I'm by myself, and I'm still not a very good swimmer. Not that I am now. But anyway, we get there, I get there, and I get on the dock, and I jump in. And when I did, I just didn't realize some things you need to do. And I lost my goggles. And I swam to the first guy that I came to. I'm like, hey, I lost my goggles. He said, do you want us to take you back? And you're done. I mean, there's nothing. They just take you back. You're DNF. So I said no. So I swam, and I swam, and I swam. And so, yeah, an hour and 10 minutes to complete the swim. In an hour and 25 minutes, I was still swimming. I couldn't see. All I know is I was about probably 15 or 20 yards from completing it. I still would have been DNF. And then this lady pulled up beside me in a Sea-Doo and said, I'm sorry, you have to get on. And so when I got on, I almost make you cry. When I got on, I went up, and then I got out, and they took my timer away. They said, have a good day. You're done because you didn't complete the swim. So I didn't get to finish that one. So I was like,
is that your first one?
That was my first one. I DNF'd.
That was right after COVID.
That was right after COVID.
That's another thing we have in common, because I DNF'd my first half.
And they don't, you know what? When in Ironman races, there's no mercy. If you don't make it, they pull your time and chip and you go home. So I went home, and you know what, it's like, okay, you got a choice. You either can quit or you can try again. So I signed up for Waco, and I went and did Waco, and I would not have made Waco. We had a friend there named, my mind is crazy, Alex. Anyway, so I'm doing this race. I'm not hydrated very well, and I'm doing this race, and I get to a point where my legs start cramping, and I'm running. I'm about 10 miles in, and I'm basically, I don't think I can make it. And my feet were turning sideways, and this guy comes along. He said, you got to go. You got to go. He just kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. Just as I went across the finish line, they turned the lights off. That's how close mine was.
Whoa.
And then I had to go to the medic and get a bag because I was so dehydrated. I couldn't function. I couldn't think. I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
And anyway, I got a bag, and so that was actually my very first one. And then I went back to Galveston the next year and actually completed that one. So that was exciting. And then
that is so cool.
We moved on, and we just, now we're doing the Fulls, which he said is a 2.2 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a 26.2 mile run. And
so Mark, I'm going to have you hold that. I want y'all to come back. We're going to take a little commercial break. Yes. But I want y'all to come back to hear the rest of what Mark has to share with us.
I love our music.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. That's 800-240-4587.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was was a publisher who was honest and upfront. No hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Welcome back to A Common Thread, Part 2. I'm Sonia V.
I'm Iguaran.
Thank you for coming back and joining us for Part 2. We have a little commercial that I'm going to read. NTX Radio proudly serves all of North Texas and can be heard all over the world on TuneIn Radio Network and on the NTX Radio app available on Android or Apple CarPlay, or just ask Alexa to play NTX Radio. Check out our lineup and more at ntxradio.com. We thank our valued sponsors in helping us amplify the voices of North Texas communities and businesses. So, protect your family with a will or trust. Connect with Todd Hurd and Associates, attorneys at law for all your civil law needs at texasattorneylaw.com. Processing credit cards? Join the Swipe Nation today and save on processing fees at swipenationusa.com. Locally owned and operated and will beat any rates. Got sleeves? Dress your arms and more at thetiffy.com for women's accessories and more, made in the USA. And it's time to take your business to the next level. Hosting a radio show and a podcast is a powerful way to connect with a wider audience, build brand awareness, and drive sales. Let's discuss your business goals and how a custom show can help you achieve them. Email Tiffany at t.hurd@ntxradio.com to get amplified.
Thank you.
Howdy.
I just was thinking about our name and the common thread.
Yes.
As we went to commercial break. And you and Mark have the common thread of having near drowning experiences.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, isn't that cool? I can talk about that too, just like the times that's happened to me. Mark and I have common thread that we were both looking for. Well, he didn't know he was necessarily looking for William, and we just needed a guy to help us get to where we are.
Right.
And we have that friend in common. Anyway, I just thought.
There you go. Making the connection to our name.
Yes, it's super cool. It's very powerful to know that we can be connected in so many ways.
We all have something in common.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm happy that we have our guest, Mark Hill, here today. I have been wanting him on our show for so long. And here he is today. He's going to finish up telling us some good things about his story. It's super powerful to me because just to know, like I mean, you've seen those horrible before and after pictures that people like to post, right? Right. Mark, I don't think you've ever done that. Maybe you have.
Maybe
you have.
His wife is shaking.
Either way, he
Maybe
shared with us his transformation.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. Like, you look way younger than even those pictures. And like, you've just transformed not only your body, but you've transformed your mind with all of this. And it reminds me of that Bible verse. I wish I could tell you where it's found. Maybe you can. But with the renewing of your mind. Anybody know where that one's found?
It's in I know Paul wrote it. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it's incredibly special. Your story, you're an inspiration to me, I will say.
Well, thank you.
But continue where you were, and make sure your mic is up close to you, or lean down into it. There you go. Just continue telling us the rest of your story. I think you told us that you had completed 2 Ironmans.
So I've completed 4.
Okay.
Well, that was the 2 I talked about a while ago. But let me before I go any further, I do need to say something about Ironman training. When you're Ironman training, you're married to it. God bless my wife, Kim, because we've been married 43 years this week. We've
That
been
is
married
awesome.
43 years.
Yay,
Yeah, I'm excited.
congratulations.
Hey, I'm excited about that. She kept me around that long. So
Kim is here
anyway,
in the studio. We'll
but-
have to have her on to tell her part of the
yeah, but
story.
so she, I mean, she comes to all my races. She supports me
Aw.
100%. Well, all my Ironman races, especially when they're in Florida or Maryland or Texas when she came. But no, she really does. She supports me 100%. And that's difficult because when you're training
Tell
every
me about it.
Saturday, I'm out with my training partner, Julie and Alex, and we're out for 8 hours every Saturday training to get ready for these events. But I think she knows how important it is to me and to our relationship and to my health, because if the course didn't change, then I wouldn't be sitting here. I mean, I wouldn't be. I would be sucking oxygen, or I would be doing something different. So now I completed, like I said, I completed Florida. That was my first full. I'm not fast, but I complete. The only one I compete against in life, it's all of us. We compete against ourselves. We just want to be a little bit better. What we talked about in Arizona, in Cozumel, and Texas. It's always something that happens. I had a flat at Texas. It cost me an hour. So it's always something that happens. You want to go back and try to be a little bit better. So at some point you get so old you can't go back.
Well, in these races, you can't not finish. Like there's well, you can actually not finish. Your body can just give out. But I'm saying, like, when you're in that mind zone and you're watching the different people that are racing alongside you is so encouraging. It makes you feel like, I don't know if you saw this at some of your races, Mark, but like there's people handicapped that are in the race.
Absolutely.
And let's say they have an amputation, but they're still doing it. I have seen races. The race that I did, there was a dad and his son, and he was like pushing his son. So that means he pulled him through the swim on a boat.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got on the bike and pulled him on a bike, like behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the run, he was pulling him or pushing him on the run.
Yes.
And so when you see those kind of characters out there, you're like, wait a second, like, I've got to do this. I've got to finish.
I know.
Have you had some of those inspiring?
You see so many amputees, blind
people, yes,
that are they have surplus that lead them. So yeah, it's pretty inspiring when you see those out there. About the time you start feeling sorry for yourself, you see someone that's struggling much more than you are. You're like, I got to just go. So yeah, you're right.
You know, as both of you are talking about races, I started thinking about the Bible and how Paul talks about. There's a couple of them that he talks about completing the race. One of them is in 2 Timothy 4:7. Says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith.
Yeah.
And then the other one is in First Corinthians 9:24. I'm trying to read from a easier, understandable version. You know that in a race, all the runners run, but only one runner gets the prize. So run like that. Run to win.
Run to win. Paul also says, when he's talking about that, when he's talking about run the race, he says, who stopped you? Who stepped in front of you? Who caused you to stop? And not just the race of the Ironman race, but race of life. What caused you to stumble? What habit? What addiction? What caused you to stumble and not so much give up the faith, but that's what I want to go back to for just a minute, because Eva was talking a little bit of my family history. And listen, we all know if we were born in the 60s, it was a different time. It was a different place. And I have 6 sisters. I'm a family of 9 with my mom and dad. And we lived in Forest Hill, Texas, which isn't too far down the road. It was a difficult time growing up. My mom had some kind of mental issues, and back then the medical field didn't really know how to deal with that, actually. So kind of getting through that, but they were both smokers. And when you grew up and you were in a car and your mom and dad smoked, everyone smoked because it got really smoky in the car. So they continue to smoke. And unfortunately, those those habits and those addictions took their life. I mean, my mom died at 57. And at the time I was 30. I just turned 30. I was 29. And I'm like, well, if I can make 57, and then I realized that's not really that old. 57. My dad was 61. Died of lung cancer, directly related to smoking, but he's also a welder. So, some of that probably had a little play in it as well. And I have a twin that recently passed away. Lisa, just a sweetheart, but she took up the habit of smoking, and unfortunately, that is not good. I mean, if you smoke, all I can tell you is it's just not a very good habit.
And Mark, just to make a comment, Mark's not trying to be judgmental or harsh on any of his siblings or his family members or anyone listening.
Oh no,
he has a huge heart, and he has a love for people. So he's just telling you this because he's overcome when you have a family history like this.
So as much as I love to smoke, I love not smoking. I mean, there's a balance in everything you do. If I was the guy that could smoke 2 or 3 cigarettes a day, I probably still would. I'm just being honest with you. But I couldn't do that. I had to do everything like full throttle. I mean, I got 2 or 3 packs. So, but anyway, that was just, I have a sister that, bless her heart, she just got into alcohol and drugs, and that, that's just an addiction, and it's hard to break away from that. And if you don't give up something like that and you don't make a change, then eventually it will take you down. And that's what happened with her. And so saying that, I have 2 sisters left here. I have one in the Metroplex, and I have one that lives in Louisiana. And so it's kind of, for me, it was like I had to make a change. I don't know why I was chosen, just the way it is, but I had to make a choice either to keep down that road or to change. And I changed with, support of my family and my friends, and, our running community, along with, you named off a few of them. I can name off a lot more that we just connect with from all different walks of life. I mean, one thing about running, exercising, weightlifting, swimming, cycling, whatever you're doing, you meet so many people from so many different walks of life. And one guy may be an airplane pilot, and another guy may be a janitor, and they come together, to share a common goal of doing life together. And I wrote it down, it's like, if I can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. The first step is just starting. You just got to start. So,
well, the common thread that I'm noticing from your story, from the Bible verse, is resiliency. I think that God has put something in us that we get down. It's something about a race. When you're running a race, you have all those people around you that I think if you fall, nobody's going to just be like, oops, trip over you. People are going to pick you up.
They do pick you up.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah. And I think we see it when we have tragedies happen, right? And it doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter what your political beliefs are. It doesn't matter what race you are, ethnicity. It doesn't matter. Because when you hit the ground, whatever that is, people are going to come alongside you and pick you up. And there's just something about humanity that God has put that in us to kind of just push through.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the common thread that I see.
And there's the personal growth that comes with it too, from doing all of this long, hard racing. There's something that comes along with that, the character building, the personal growth.
Yes.
Making goals for yourself. Like it's not a race usually against others at this point. Like the pros will look back and they'll finish the races, but they'll come out and support everybody else, because I've heard them say, like, this is a mama, this is a daddy, this is these people, they're not doing it for their job or their, full time, doing it constantly as a paycheck or whatever. They're doing it because they're trying to have a personal growth or a goal or something to really push themselves. And I know I've grown from doing that, and just really the friendships, I would say.
Absolutely. Before I started running or doing anything, I mean, all this is growth, whether it's physical, spiritual, it's all growth. But before I did, and I still tell my wife that, I'm very shy. I'm an introvert. She's like, "You're not an introvert." I am. I couldn't talk. I would start sweating if you put me in front of a few people. And I'm excited now because I tell you, I love to go out and preach. I love to spread the message of Jesus Christ and his goodness and his kindness and his mercy and his grace. And that's what I have on my arm. I chose not to do an Ironman
Philippians
tab. I tried to do
4:13.
Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Amen.
And so
that's what show up there so everybody can see that.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
And you really can, whether it's this or whether it's life. I think when you do something hard, it teaches you how to do life when it becomes hard, because it will become hard. At some point, you're going to be in a valley. We have a running trail in Burleson, if I can share this. We have a running trail in Burleson, and you're running across a trail, and you're kind of on a high level, and there's a really bright light. Right. I'm looking at it, and then you kind of run down into a valley, and you can't see the light anymore. And then when you run back up to the top, the light's there. And I was sitting there looking at that light one time. He said, "Just because you can't see me doesn't mean I'm not there." So you think about that. You think about his goodness, and when you're in a valley, that's where you want to see him the most, right? That's where you want to feel him the most, because I would much rather be in a valley with Jesus than without Jesus.
Amen.
That's my story. I'm sticking with it.
I love it. I love it. Well,
that's so good.
Where
were you at? Because I almost see this picture of where you're running.
So it's on the trail over off of Hidden Creek. You're in Burleson area. It's off the trail of Hidden Creek, and you're running toward the cemetery, and the light's there. It's there, but it never goes away. You can't see it, but it never goes away.
Mark, that's a shirt. That's a t-shirt.
That's a t-shirt.
You need to put that on a t-shirt.
Well, and it kind of is the same that you've also heard where somebody asked, like, Jesus, where were you? And it was because Jesus was carrying him.
Oh, like the footprints in the sand.
Yes.
Like the footprints in the sand. As a chaplain, I pray that prayer with people all the time. And I say, it's amazing to me that, like, when they open their eyes, they're like in tears after that, because I'll say, like, the footprints in the sand, please carry them. Because in those moments, like, you feel like you're all alone, but just because you're there just because we can't see God, we don't see the light, doesn't mean that God's not there carrying us.
Absolutely.
So
he's always there.
Yes, he is.
So yeah.
So Mark, what would you tell others in the community, or what would you tell your granddaughter, grandson, grandchildren? What would you tell others about this journey and what it's done for you?
That's a good question. So
what has it given you?
You got to keep your body healthy. Your body is your temple, right? And you got to keep your body healthy to do life, because you're not dead. God's not done. But you can allow yourself to, I don't know how to say it. You can allow yourself, I heard somebody one time said, well, if you don't know how to say it, then you shouldn't be up there. Well, there's a lot of things I don't know how to say, but the thing is, you got to keep your temple healthy so you can go out and you can proclaim Jesus Christ. That's what I'm about, because this life is great. I love living, y'all. I love life. I love living. I love waking up. It's a blessing for me to wake up every morning and for a new journey, whatever that is, to do. But also, there's someone out there that doesn't know. There's someone out there that's hurting, that needs to know that there's something better than this life, because there is. And you can have all the, we grew up very poor, thank God, but you can have whatever. You can be poor, you can have riches beyond your imagination, but when it comes to dying, it means nothing. It's all about eternity in Jesus Christ. So what I would tell my kids is to keep yourself healthy. I went 45 years and I wasn't a bad person. We had a great relationship, but I just really didn't take care of my body. I think it's very important that we take care of our body and our temple, and that we keep it clean and we keep it the way that God created it. And it's difficult to do. I know you can. There's people right now that they're suffering from a habit, or they're suffering from addiction. They just need to know there's hope. There's a way out, but you can't do it alone. You can't do life alone. It's got to be the connection with each other. So I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for, but that's what I gave you.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Community.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah. We were not, there's that saying that, there's that saying, there's no I in team and no man's an island. I think isolation, that can be dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yeah. And I think it's important to surround yourself, even if it's a small tribe. It doesn't have to be a big tribe. It could be a handful of people, but that's your tribe. And then when you're down, they're there for you. Yes. And I think it's important to have that, and not, what I'm not saying is, we don't have to hang our dirty laundry out for everybody to see. Right. Is not what I'm not saying that. I'm saying choose wisely who your tribe is, and they will be there for you, because I have witnessed it in my life. So
absolutely.
And I think there's probably, I can never remember the sayings, but it's like, tell me your 5 friends or something, and I'll tell your future. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the saying is, but it's something like that.
But you have to have some people in your life, like you said, that are close, that know you. You can't allow someone to walk into your life and tell you what to do that's never walked a day in your shoes. You have to have some people in your life, and some people are like, where do I start? You know what? You start by getting out of the house. You start by going to a church. You start by going to a senior citizen center. You start by going somewhere and getting around other people and meeting other people and find out your connections with each other. But you got to start. You have to make that initial step. You have to.
Mark is super inspirational, and I wanted to bring up the motto, I believe, of Ironman. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
That's the motto?
Yes. Anything is possible. But as a Christian, we know that anything is possible
with God.
Jesus Christ.
With Jesus Christ on our side. And he has to be the forefront. He has to be our rock. He has to be our everything. Mark, I have really enjoyed having you on our podcast. I hope you'll come back. Your story is super inspirational. I hope that the people listening have been taking notes, and just know that you can look up William Pruitt. He's a great coach. Yeah. We're a team here that will sometimes wear Choreo Velo. So if you ever see anybody with Choreo Velo, just come shake our hand. It's a community that is like, we just love everybody. And if you start running with us, Mark will convince you. He convinced one of our friends, Scott, to do his first Ironman. He was just running with us, and now he's completed an Ironman. So beware, if you come running with us, Mark's going to be like, I see potential.
I'm into working out and like lifting weights.
That's my wife.
That's my thing. I've done that since I was 16, and I'm gonna date myself. I don't know if that was here in Texas, if they had this franchise. It was called Living Well Lady, and it was just for women. And that was back in the 80s and 90s. And I joined when I was 16, because I think I don't know if you were allowed to join. You had to get parents' permission, whatever. I would spend hours there doing classes, and I was just never into like the running piece of it, but I loved lifting weights. It was just like, again, the same concept, right?
Yeah,
like
very much so.
pushing yourself.
To the
It was
limit.
like, no pain, no gain kind of deal. So
And there's a group for everybody.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Mark, I wanted to ask you because I feel like our listeners have to know. So, how many races have you completed? Ironman. No, I mean, how many marathons do you think?
50.
50. And how many Ironmans?
Wow.
4.
4. And when did you do your first? How many years ago did you do your first Ironman?
3.
3 years ago. So
Yeah.
in 3 years.
No, 4, because this is the 4th year.
Okay.
So this year I'm doing 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just want our listeners
Amazing.
to know, how old are you?
63.
Wow.
63, guys. And you have done
4.
4 Ironmans. That's insane.
Yeah.
That is terrific. I think that's just so amazing.
That is inspirational.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And he could just be sitting on a couch somewhere, smoking a box of cigarettes.
Oh, I thought she was going to say joint.
Smoking joint. That too. But you're choosing a different route, and that's what's so amazing and inspirational to me.
That's another story. I have a great story about that too, but we'll share that another time.
Okay, we'll tell another about a joint.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're about to close. We just want you to join us next week, same time, same place,
same bat channel.
6 p.m. on Wednesdays. I don't know if we'll have a guest.
Yeah, well, tune in and you'll find out.
Yes, you're gonna find out.
Yeah, you'll find out. So we always like to close with our we have a little saying, both Eva and I, at the end, and I say it because this was something that my son said to me when he was in the hospital, and he said, "Don't give up, hold on to Jesus."
Amen.
And my dad's favorite saying was, "Keep looking up." Do you have a favorite?
I don't.
Anything is possible. Iron Man.
You know
Anything
what?
is possible.
If I can, you can. Actually, seriously, if I can, you can. You can look me up, and I will run with you.
All right. Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you.
See you next week.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your